Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday vlog, the day of the week that allows us to exchange thoughts, opinions, and ideas on activity that goes on here with the channel, current events, headlines that are in the news, technology, pop culture, and just items of interest that come up that would allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue, because I value your guys' participation here on the channel. For all my subscribers, viewers, and passers-by, if this is your first time to the channel, I want to welcome you guys here and encourage you to click on that watermark there in the bottom right-hand corner so you guys can continue to get the Friday vlogs. So we're starting it off with activity that has gone on during the week here on the channel, and that is earlier this week I released a Just Survive stream for about an hour where I was able to interact with some of the fellow subscribers, game players, the community of Just Survive, and those that happened to catch the live stream. And I want to thank all those who came for the first time and those who subscribed. I appreciate your guys' support and hope you enjoyed the content. Also, for Civilization fans, if you guys are here for Civ 6, I released 2 more videos of Robert the Bruce gameplay. I hope you guys are enjoying that. It's kind of an intermittent gameplay where it's kind of my off-camera game that I kind of just bring you guys into. So I hope you guys are enjoying that content. So for 2 days, Mark Zuckerberg was on the Hill fielding questions from various senators, and the thing that stood out for me was that he was not under oath. Now, he was compelled to tell the truth, but this allowed him a little bit of a wiggle room, a kind of a luxury, so that if he didn't have a quantified answer to a question, he was then able to say, well, Senator, I'll have to get back to you on that, or Senator, I'll have a member of my staff get back to you on that particular question. Now, it may be worth noting 2 different things here. One, Zuckerberg has donated to several of the senators' campaigns, and if it weren't already obvious, they did not appear to be very computer, internet, or social media savvy. Now, it's not unusual for them to have prepared questions, so I'm not talking about them looking down at pieces of paper, because they have limited time and they need to be able to fire these questions off within that time. But it was pretty apparent that the senators oftentimes struggled, and I think because of this, it didn't really affect Facebook stock, because a lot of the way the stock market works is based on the confidence of the market and confidence within companies. And it looked like Zuckerberg was able to at least competently and articulately defend the company itself. Now, there wasn't a lot of specificity as it came to Cambridge Analytica, because like I said, this was not really like a trial. This was not like him facing the Department of Justice. But what we really saw here was political theater. What it is you have many Americans who are involved in Facebook who feel like maybe some of their privacy had been violated, and they needed Zuckerberg to be held responsible. So what we saw was kind of a slap on the wrist, a public slight flogging of Zuckerberg to perhaps help satisfy and put at ease the Americans' concerns about what happened on Facebook. Now, we'll have to keep an eye on this in general to see how far it will go with, say, for example, the Department of Justice. But this was really to kind of give the American people who participate on Facebook a little bit of ease of mind, so that it looked like the senators and or the country were trying to settle and or rectify this situation with Zuckerberg. So keeping within the Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg theme here, particularly in social media, I wanted to talk about Diamond and Silk, 2 ladies who were former Democrats who decided to change parties back in 2016 and get behind Trump on their Trump train, as they call it. Now, we have seen them attend some of the rallies that Trump had, as well as appear on the various social media sites, along with the mainstream media and even on talk shows on television. So what happened last week was that Facebook informed them that their content was unsafe. Now, one can interpret that in many different ways, but I did want to mention how Ted Cruz specifically mentioned Diamond and Silk by name. But at the same time, in his question, he kind of gave Zuckerberg a little bit of leeway, a little bit of cushioning. Instead of just saying, Mr. Zuckerberg, does your platform actively censor content that you do not agree with? So what Cruz basically said was, is Facebook a platform that is a neutral entity, or are you, Mark Zuckerberg and company, exercising your First Amendment right? So if Zuckerberg is exercising his First Amendment right, he is essentially saying, or Cruz is allowing him to say that, well, maybe I don't share what Diamond and Silk have to say here, and because it is my platform, I can kind of, obfuscate some of their information, or maybe not allow everyone to actually see their content, or kind of jockey it. So basically what happened is Diamond and Silk's channel, or their page, was not taken down, or they weren't officially flagged, but it does appear as though they might have been shadow banned. Now, we've talked about shadow banning before on YouTube, but this isn't unusual for platforms to do, and that is they kind of throttle the person's page or their content so that it's not as widely distributed, so they can kind of control it and maintain who's able to see what and when. And so both Diamond and Silk were kind of upset because they were hearing from their subscribers and those who liked their page that they were not being notified about when Diamond and Silk was going live or additional content that they had provided. Now, it's important to note here that they have said that they have not heard anything from Zuckerberg or Facebook, and they may not because of all the things that are going on right now. So the timing of all this is quite interesting. But I am certainly going to be watching this with a great deal of interest, just because I like both ladies and I like their message. As a matter of fact, you could make the argument that if you want to see an example of genuine grassroots, of genuine organic platform organization, is Diamond and Silk, as opposed to the mainstream media contrived stuff we saw with David Hogg and Emma Gonzalez. Both Diamond and Silk are very genuine when it comes to what they did, because they started at the bottom. If you go back to their original content, we're talking about like newbies starting on social media, and they've been able to create quite a movement and obtain a great deal of subscribers, and I think they're up to 1 million followers on Facebook. So they're definitely having an influence. And I also want to raise the question here to you guys and suggest that I feel sometimes that the platforms are seeing that maybe some of their more progressive users are not reaching the people that some of the more conservative people are. And so you have kind of a war of ideas that are taking place, because remember, information is power. We're currently in a war of ideas, and I feel like maybe the platforms are like stepping in and saying, okay, well, maybe the progressives aren't really, the people aren't really buying what they have to sell, and the conservatives are really starting to make a move. They're really starting to make a push. They're kind of distracting people away from the negativity and our campaign to take down a sitting president. And so we're going to have to kind of, throttle them a little bit. We're going to have to kind of, tap them down. So that's just, kind of my personal opinion. I can't say with specificity that the platforms are actually doing that, because obviously I have a biased opinion about political views, but I did want to share that particular part to you. Do you think that maybe these platforms are having to step in to try to control conservative speech or common sense speech or independent or even Green Party individuals that might be detracting from the mainstream media's desire to bring down a sitting president? You guys are welcome to leave your thoughts and opinions about that in the comments section below. So another little interesting story I wanted to share with you guys is police officers down in Florida stopped the woman because they said that they detected the smell of marijuana emanating from her vehicle. Now, back in the 1960s, Bob Dylan wrote a song, "Blowin' in the Wind," in which he refers to the wind having answers. So when the police officer approached her vehicle, she said, "Well, officers, it's a very windy day." Now, I've never heard that as a line of reasoning or argument to explain how drugs got into her vehicle or into her purse, but it will be interesting to see what attorneys and judges say with this particular line of defense. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up this Friday vlog. I'd like to encourage you guys to go ahead and click on that channel icon that you see appearing on the screen. Also like to encourage you to click that like button, and feel free to leave a comment down below sharing your ideologies, your thoughts and opinions on some of the topics that we covered here this particular week and in other vlogs. I would encourage you guys to go back and take a look at that content along with the content that's here on the channel. Your guys' support is greatly appreciated, and I will see you next Friday.